Hello, it's Michelle Pegler, and I'm here with a video today sharing with you the custom quilting I'm doing on my Undersea quilt. You may have seen my earlier video where I talked about the planning process for this, and here are the real results. I have already advanced it one time, but I decided to do the first update here because it was just more sky that I already rolled a bit under the roller bar. So let me show you what I've got so far. As I talked about in the sky, I'm just doing these big swirls all the way across. They're all moving from left to right because I'm imagining it's the wind blowing from the ocean toward the shore. And I tried to kind of alternate which direction they are swirling. So some of them, go up over the top, some curl under. There's a lot of overlapping. There's a variety of sizes. There's some that have, a big sweepy down part versus ones that are more straight across. Overall, I'm loving how this is looking so far. I only have a little bit left to do once I advance the quilt another time down in this yellow area. I have started my boat and I think it looks great. It took me a long time to figure out what I wanted to do on this. I don't know if this is called like a smokestack or something, but I picked a kind of diamond dot-to-dot design that I think looks cool. Also, just want to note how I made the swirl kind of look like it's going behind the boat right there. Thought I was very clever. On the cabin part of the boat, just kind of mixed some small organic fillers with some straight line quilting. I decided to have it be consistent between the boat and the lighthouse, where the windows on the lighthouse have the same design and the door on the lighthouse has this same design, which is kind of neat for a door. It's got like a split up the middle and then kind of looks like it could be a door design. So moving over toward the middle, we've got this amazing seagull. I did really tight horizontal lines on the wings. I thought that would be a nice contrast to how the wings have these really stark diagonals on them. I think that looks good. And then I wanted the body to look different. I knew that the quilting thread, which is again that rainbow variegated pastels thread, would show up really well on this white fabric. So I decided to do kind of a swirl hook filler because I knew that I'd be able to reach a little hook piece out onto that tiny, tiny beak. My daughter thinks this looks fluffy, which I love. Moving over to the lighthouse, really like how this turned out. I did wishbones on the roof. Again, that window design that was the same as the boat, the door. And then on the main stripes of the building, I alternated between doing cobblestone filler with these serpentine lines on all the red stripes. I think that turned out really, really cool. Decided to throw ribbon candy here on this thick base. Over on the house, I did some of the same cobblestoning. I used the quilting to define a doorway. I did a couple echoes on the roof and then did this cool like scallop design. And then just tried something a little bit different over here that is not simply vertical lines, but vertical lines like with a little twist. So that's what I have so far. I will give you another update when I've advanced this another time or two. All right, I have another update. I finished the hull of this boat. I decided to do some layering designs. So did some kind of scallops with little loops and then added these little flourish things, pebbles. Yeah, just something that I could do all the way across that would look really neat when layered. And then finish the sky. Decided just to do some straight line dot to dot on the whale because it's so small. And then I did a nice free motion combination over here on the hill that is giving me, grassy, leafy vibes. So I will be advancing this and starting in on the water next. All right, here is my next update. I have started the water. And I decided to do a combination of a few different motifs. So one of the motifs I'm doing is, I do not know what this is called, where you do a wavy line and then you echo it a few times, but you kind of go from point to point and then extend the curved lines wider and wider. Not sure what to call that. It might be some sort of like pea pod or something. So I'm doing that. I think that's really fun because you can make them, you know, really big, and you can make them go all sorts of different directions to just fill in space. In addition to those, I'm doing some paisleys, usually with an echo or two here and there. Kind of variety of sizes, so some are smaller, some are bigger. I'm throwing in a pebble every so often, just like one or maybe a tiny group of pebbles. And then I'm also doing some echoed swirls. So you can see this one is more curvy. There are ones that are more straight. Again, it's fun to have variety. Moving over to see some animals, I decided for these little fish, I'm just going to do a point-to-point design on the little triangle tail and then some scales. And I did realize that on a real fish, these scales would more go like sideways or like up and down. So I'm just going to ignore that. It's fine. On the orca, it took me a while and I drew out a few different options, but I decided to do some fun feathers on the black part of the orca. I have not yet done the white part because my throat space can't quite get to all of it. So I'll do that on the next row. So you can see I made kind of the back part here the origin point for feathers going up both sides of the tail and then the entire body. And then my plan for the fins down here is to extend between one of these feather petals out and then do feathers down that, and then that'll just, you know, extend from the top and make feathers on that one as well. All right, so getting over to my first jellyfish. Now these jellyfish are huge. They're like 14 inches tall. Oh, and then I decided all the small fish are going to be the same as the first two I showed you. So for this jellyfish, and there's 3 of them on the quilt, I might do them all differently or all the same. I haven't decided yet. I wanted to try out some point-to-point kind of geometric design on the head of the jellyfish here, the top, and then I obviously haven't started the tentacles yet. I left my little marks on here to show you how I plan out something like this. So you can kind of see each one of these little blue dots. I take a water erasable blue marker. That's what I used to mark because it'll just disappear with water once I spray this. I took my longest straight ruler I have, kind of laid it across the top of this jellyfish head, kind of like that, so that it was level side to side. And I went along and I just marked every inch along the edge of that ruler all the way across the top. And so that's what these dots are. Then I decided that for some of them, I would, you know, go straight from there up to the middle and out to the bottom. But for some, I would add an extra kind of hinge point on this line. So you can see these 2 outer lines go and then turn again right there into the center. And overall, I think it looks great. So the way I planned out those lines, by the way, is I kind of just sketched like whereabouts it was going to go. You can see these are not straight because I did not bother using a ruler to mark those lines. When I'm doing this kind of design, I generally just use the ruler to make sure I'm going straight, and I try to mark as few points as possible for efficiency. So that is what I have so far in the water part of this quilt. So I have finished the rest of the quilting on some of these first sea animals, and I decided what my kind of approach is for all the animals on the quilt that are big enough to custom quilt. I really like a combination of geometric designs with a more organic free motion design. So that's what I did here on the jellyfish. I already explained how I did the point-to-point up here. So then on the tentacles, you can see I did really tight back and forth lines on the diagonal, kind of alternating down. So I would start from up here, do all these, and then turn it and do these, and continue it down. So I really like how that looks. And I asked my son if he wants them all to look like that, and he said yes. So they're going to be all the same. Following that same theme on the orca, finished out my feathers, and then decided to just do some horizontal lines on that white lower body. And the variegated thread looks way better in person than it's showing up on the camera. Over on the turtle, same kind of thing. So I decided to go with a crosshatch on the turtle shell using the polka dotted fabric as kind of a guide. I really like how it turned out, and I like how each one of these little squares looks like a dice that has been rolled to the number 4. So then to complement it with an organic filler, I decided feathers would look really nice on all of these shapes. And yes, I love it. And my son said all the turtles can also look just like this. I have another couple of fish to show you. Here is the mama fish. I decided to combine straight lines on all the fins with this paisley meander, which I always love the look of, all over the body and face. And the baby fish is similar, except instead of paisleys, I did pebbles. I've also started next couple of jellyfish. I realized what's nice about this tentacle filler is that you don't have to do it all in one shot. You can work your way down. So like my throat space isn't big enough to hit these little last bits yet, but I'll get it on the next pass. And I have started this next kind of fish, you can see, with some serpentine lines on that top fin. And then just following up on turtles. Don't mind the water sprays. I had to spray my markings off. That's why it's a little wet still. Here is the baby turtle. Turned out great. Showing the next row of animals here. This is my final turtle. My blue jellyfish. And then this is a new kind of fish. There is a mama fish and 2 little ones. So I decided to make them all the same. I did this checkerboard texture. So you can see that's all just really tight quilting on every other square to make the non-quilted ones puff up. I always love this effect. Then I did kind of a fancy one-sided feather and some serpentine lines on all of the fins. For the big fish, which is a 12-inch block, I did a 1-inch grid here. And for the little ones that are 6-inch blocks, I decided to do a 3/4 inch grid so that it wouldn't be too big. And I think they look really good. And then finished up my final jellyfish there. I am about to get into the deepest part of the ocean next. Next update, I wanted to show you this little fish. It is the same block pattern as another one I already did, but it's different fabric colors, so I decided to quilt this one a little differently. I did some diagonal stripes on the fins and then just wavy lines across the body. I think that looks nice. On my seaweeds, I decided to do kind of a climbing vine type of look. The way I designed these seaweed blocks is with the 2 colors of fabric. I wanted it to kind of look like it's twisted up, and so I mimicked that with the quilting. I have not yet done the body of the crab, but I did do some dot-to-dot designs on all of the legs that I could reach. And then these seahorses I'm very excited about. I did some horizontal lines on the head, but then the rest of the body is free motion. So decided to curl up a feather on the whole body. Kind of did a mirror image of that on the fin. I don't know what you call this. And then made that kind of look like a fin flaying out as well. I did the little one same way. And then over here, just have a little bit more seaweed. So I am almost done with this. All I have left is the crab, the rock, and the sand. So I will show you when this is all done. All right, this is my final update of the custom quilting while I have this on the machine. I will do one more big update when I can roll it off and show you the whole thing all together. But I want to do some close-ups here of this last little bit because it turned out really good. For the rock, I decided to try out this kind of barnacle looking design. Where, you make a circle, you do a little bit of straight lines in the middle and then echo it. So yeah, barnacles or like sand dollars, that's kind of the vibe I was going for there. And then turns out one of my favorite parts of the quilt now is the sand. You can kind of see it on the video, but it's even more sparkly in person than the video is showing. This is a sparkle fabric. And I did a like long wavy design across the whole bottom, and it looks so good. I couldn't imagine I would like any part of the quilt as much as I like this sand now. I finished the crab's body as well as these last couple legs that I didn't have before. So did a curvy kind of Y shape up the middle and then some fern-like feathers on either side. I think that turned out really nice. And yeah, just finished up my seaweed going into the sand as well. So that is the whole thing. All right, this is going to be my last update where I show you the entire quilt and all the custom quilting and how it looks in the end. As I said in my last video, I am loving how the sand looks. I think I did a pretty good job making the ocean texture look consistent through the whole quilt, but also like very much not planned and kind of like random. And then I love how the swirly sky looks. One of my friends said it looks like Van Gogh's Starry Night, which is maybe where I was kind of getting the inspiration from in my subconscious, but I will definitely take that compliment, that comment as a compliment, because yes, this is my quilty night sky. That green hill looks amazing. Overall, I'm very happy with how this turned out, and I cannot wait to put it into the state fair. I will show you one more thing, is that the quilting looks really good on the backing as well. So I love using cuttlebacks for all my quilts. One of the reasons, other than them being so plushy and soft, is that you can see the quilting so well on the back. So you can see those little checkerboard areas, and you can see my jellyfish, and you can see a full seahorse pair right there. So yeah, this turned out fantastic. Thank you for watching.